Okay. Oh, this is my favorite part of the stream, is just getting everything set up at the beginning. It's so fun and exciting. All right. Hello. I am good. I'm just distracted. Sorry. Hi, Metawave. Okay. Thanks, Apostle. I'm glad that we're besties now. That's nice. Hey, everybody. Okay, if you are in the guest queue or if you're thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm distracted. Hi, Apostle. How's it going?
It's good, man.
For my records, how old are you?
Yeah, 24.
Okay, and Catholic, correct?
Yep.
All right, what have you got today?
I actually wanted to explore your argument a bit, if you're fine with that.
Which argument?
Whichever one you think is strongest.
Oh, what would I say is the strongest argument? That's really hard to say.
Probably problem of evil, right? It's probably goated.
Oh, I don't know. I don't really like problem of evil personally. Like, I think it's strong, but I think it's really super uninteresting to talk about.
Divine hiddenness?
Well, typically, I would just go for, like, you know, some kind of syllogism that demonstrates, like, some contradiction in God's properties. Like, we could do the mind one that I run fairly frequently. I actually finally, I hated how I had tried to translate it into sentential logic, so I finally got it translated into first order logic today, and so I'm much happier. I don't know if the inference like that is going to come up, but I'm just stoked that I have that now. But yeah, that would be one that I really like. I can run through it premise by premise if you want.
I got a lock-in on formal logic, but yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, it probably won't come up, but the argument is just fresh in my mind because I went through and did that today.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Not that I'm gonna be like, oh, deal with the fucking the predicate. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm gonna give you the argument of predicate logic, and now you got to refute it that way.
It's gonna be a rhetoric demon. It's gonna be a rhetoric demon.
No, I want to be. You got the Phil bros out there. I'm gonna combat them by becoming a logic bro.
Logic bro. That's good. That's a good one.
But okay, so premise one is just going to be that God has a mind. Would you agree or disagree?
Okay. Well, let me hold on. P1. Yeah, I agree with P1 now.
Okay, and then premise two is just going to be minds have either changing mental states or only one unchanging mental state.
Minds either have many changing mental states, you said?
I just say changing mental states. Or you could say it as a series of changing mental states.
Oh. Mental states are what?
Minds have either changing mental states or only one unchanging mental state.
Or only one unchanging mental state.
I mean, I can just put it up on the screen if that makes it easier for you.
Oh, that would actually be perfect.
Okay.
I'm writing that wrong.
Okay, so here we have the first two premises. Premise one, God has a mind. Premise two, minds have either changing mental states or only one unchanging mental state. Sounds like we're in agreement. Here, I'll put a little little y here. We're good on that one. Minds have either changing mental states or only one unchanging mental state.
I've been looking into. Well, yeah.
Okay.
It's like where I'm at. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so premise 3 is going to be the change only occurs in time. I don't know if you could do anything about the background noise. Sounds like maybe you're like in a river right now.
Oh, it's my fan. Well, let me unplug it. All right, is that better?
Yeah.
What was it? Change only occurs in time.
Would you agree or disagree?
Oh, is change being like is change? Are you saying like causation when you say change?
No, I'm just saying change.
Oh, okay. And yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool. And then we're gonna say premise 4 is that God exists outside of time.
Okay, I accept that.
Okay. So then our first conclusion here is just going to be a really simple one. God has only one unchanging mental state. Seems pretty obvious from the premises that we've gone through so far. And then this might be... Actually, yeah?
You could just ask me if like I would have accepted the conclusion, because that's Catholic doctrine.
Okay, that's fine. I don't want to assume anything. I guess I could have asked, but... and then acting upon one's will changes one's mental states.
That's B5?
Yep.
Acting upon one's will
changes one's mental states.
I don't think so. I don't know if I accept that.
Well, my argument would be that if an agent acts on their will, their mental state transitions from I will do X but have not done it to I have fulfilled my will to do X. And then obviously if if an agent's mental state transitions from one state to another, that's a change in their mental state. So therefore, if an agent acts on their will, their mental state must change.
Like if you mean like acting upon it in the way you mean like where it's like they go from not willing it to willing it, is that what you said?
No, I mean you can will a thing but not be in the action of doing it, and as part of the as part of undertaking the action of whatever it is that you will, part of that process will necessarily be a change of mental states.
Hold on. I just want to get like when you say like acting upon one's will, like how is that being like defined exactly, so I know like for the future, just for we don't get like talking past each other.
Yeah, I would say like carrying out an intention.
Carrying out an intention.
Maybe I'll want to change that. I think that's correct though.
Okay. Well, I mean, like the issue I have with it is like under divine simplicity, you just say that, like God's will is His action, and therefore there's no kind of change in states.
Right. Well, that's just a problem for divine simplicity. I'm just saying that. So acting on one's will, so understood, is going to involve a change in mental states. The fact that that's at odds with your doctrine about God is irrelevant here. It's just going to be. It just is the case that if an agent acts on their will, one of the things that will happen as a result is a change of mental states. And I don't think that appealing to like, well, I believe this contradictory thing about God, like, I don't think that that's going to get you out of the fact that this is entailed from what it means to carry out in one's intention. Because you have to go from the state of having the intention to do X to the state of having done X. And maybe there would be an intermediate state where you have a mental state of being in the process of doing X.
So you're saying the change in states would be the intention and then the doing of the act.
Yeah, either from intention to in the process, or from either from the, I'm sorry, I can't talk today. Either from the intention to from the state of being intending to do X to the state of doing X, or from the state of intending to do X to the state of having done X. Either way, there's going to have to be at least one change.
I think I accept that for like like physical minds. I don't know if I would accept that for material minds.
Yeah, you're just trying to, that just sounds like special pleading to me. I'm just saying that that is what it means to carry out one's intention. It means to have an intention and then to take the action. And there's going to be different mental states involved. There's going to be a different mental state that involves having the intention versus the mental state that includes doing the intention or having carried out the intention. Those are necessarily different mental states. And so it cannot be meaningfully said that an agent has acted on their will if at least one change like that doesn't happen. Because if they never had the state of intending to do X, then being in the process of doing X is not a fulfillment of intention, so then that wouldn't be acting on their will. So acting on your will necessarily involves, like I said, having the intention to do X and then a different mental state that it is either in the process of doing X or having completed doing X.
Yeah, this would depend on I think this depends on like a separate like theory of causation. I mean, like I wouldn't accept that in virtue of the fact like if there's an immaterial object, the intention and the doing of the action, right? The result is just going to be a matter of grounding. I think that's like.
We're not talking about grounding. We're talking about acting on one's will. That's what we're talking about.
I'm saying acting upon one's will is like. The relationship between like the object that's acting upon the will and the result is going to be a grounding. I don't think it's like a case of where like
we're not talking about the relationship between the agent that's acting and the effect of their action. That's not what we're talking about.
I wouldn't accept this as always true because like for material minds this isn't true.
What's the justification for that?
Yeah, so immaterial objects don't change states. Material objects don't change states, and they can't change their mental states. God is an immaterial object, therefore God can't change his mental states. Then you just say like the intention. And the
so it sounds like what you're doing is you're just trying to define this in such a way that gets you out of it, but that's not actually giving an argument that shows that an immaterial mind could act on its will without a change in mental states. You have to just give the argument that it's possible to do that, not assert it. And an argument that simply asserts it is not supporting the position. Because as far as I can tell, and I wouldn't be able to recite the argument back to you, so maybe there's something I missed, but as far as I could tell, the argument that you gave, it was simply just asserting that that an immaterial mind wouldn't change its mental state because God can't, and you're assuming that God does act on his will. So you're just saying, since God acts on his will and God's mental states can't change, it must be the case that you can act on your will without your mental state changing, but that again is just asserting the claim. So what I would be looking for would be the justification for that claim.
Yeah, but wait. The justification is that immaterial minds, would you say like immaterial objects are like constrained by time?
I don't know if I believe in any immaterial objects. I don't think I do. Maybe you could point one out that I would accept, but I don't think I believe in any. Regardless, what I'm looking for is the argument that there is any type of mind that can act on its will without a change in mental states. That's what I'm looking for. What you're doing right now is a red herring. You're trying to run off to this immaterial stuff. That's completely irrelevant here. I don't care about the state of something being material or immaterial. That's not at issue. What's at issue right now is whether or not an agent can act on their will without a change in mental states. That's what I need an argument for.
Yeah, I mean, the argument against this would be that we shouldn't always accept this, given that the objects in question, the objection would just be the object in question, it doesn't have two separate properties.
No, this is just this is just asserting your claim that it is possible. I'm asking for the argument that it's possible, not simply an assertion that it is. Those are very different things, Apostle.
No, this is an internal critique though. I mean, I'm saying that within the within the view itself, is what solves the internal issue that you're trying to point out.
No, you haven't solved the issue. You said that you've claimed that there's a solution, but you haven't provided one. That's what I'm asking you to do.
The solution is that divine simplicity is true, and therefore we should say that the will and the act is the same.
Yeah, you're still not understanding. You're not giving the argument. You're simply pointing to where the claim is made. I agree that the claim is made in your doctrine. I am 100% on board with that. What I'm asking for is the justification for that claim. And you have not even attempted to provide it yet.
And internal critiques, I mean, do you think there needs to be like an justification?
That's what I'm doing, is I'm showing that there is a problem in your view. That's what an internal critique does, and that's what's happening right now. And you're trying to say, no, this isn't a problem. I've presented you with an account of acting on one's will that shows that this is an issue, and you're saying, no, it's still not a problem. I'm asking if you can explain to me how it's not a problem beyond simply saying that it's not a problem.
Wait, I'm explaining why it's not a problem.
I have not heard an explanation. I've only heard assertions that it's not a problem. I would love to hear the explanation.
Yeah, the explanation for why it's not a problem is that, like, per divine simplicity, there is no change in mental states. Like, the will and the act is the same, therefore, like, God doesn't change.
Yeah, again, this is just asserting that because divine simplicity is true, this isn't a problem. Great. I'm asking you to justify that. That's the very thing I'm asking you to justify, not to simply assert it.
Wait, yeah, well, if the act and the will is the same, therefore, like, you can't change mental states, because that would imply that.
No, you're still just asserting it again. That's just asserting it again, Apostle. Please do not assert the position again. I do not, Apostle, I do not need you to assert the position again. Please do not assert the position again. Everyone who's watching this conversation, everyone who's here, we all know the position. You don't have to assert it again. The position is, if divine simplicity is true, then there is no change in mental states when per acting on the will. Fine, great. What's the argument that leads to that conclusion?
Yeah, it's that, like, if, like, when you say there's a change in mental states, you're saying that one state and the other state are going to be states in which can't be held to be true at the same time ordinarily. And while this is true, like, for physical minds, but that's in virtue of the fact that the will and act.
No, you're not giving the argument that I'm asking for, Apostle. I need the argument that concludes, if divine simplicity is true, then acting on one's will does not involve a change in mental states. That's the argument that I'm looking for.
Wait. I don't, like, hold on. The reason why it doesn't entail that, automatically is because, like, that's by definition of what it would be if we had, like, a kind of thing in which, couldn't
Okay,
change
I understand that's what the definition is. I don't care. This is, again, just asserting the claim, and I'm sorry, Apostle. Look, like, we had a good conversation recently. I've let you know that, like, I do have respect for you actually standing on your principles. In fact, a lot of respect for that, and that hasn't changed. The problem here, though, is that you're doing the same thing right now that you've done every time we've debated. As soon as we get to a point where there's an issue in your view, you just sandbag and refuse to actually address what I'm saying to you. And I'm not going to run in these circles with you forever. So I'm done with this circular thing that you're doing right now. I'm not going to allow it. So I'm going to ask you one more time for the argument that concludes with your position. So your position is, we'll change this and say, if divine simplicity is true, true, there is no change in mental states necessitated by an act of will. If you need me to reword that, I can, but that's the gist of the conclusion that you're supposed to be giving an argument for. And so now the next thing I need from you is to either say, either clarify what the conclusion should be. If there's some problematic wording in there, I'm fine with that, or giving the premises that lead to this. The next thing is, I'm also just going to drop you if there are any more, KG coaches in the chat.
Next KG? I don't know why he's in there. Okay, hold on. Let me write out the argument. Oh, okay.
So what are we getting?
Well, no, hold on. I'm writing up the, like, premises, and, like, we're writing up premises modus ponens format. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you to tell me. Like, are you back with KG or something? Like, this just feels like KG tactics right now.
I don't know why they're in the comments. I don't like I literally just confronted Kylo about like the coaching thing. I hate that.
Is that a yes?
No, I'm not back with KG. I'm not back with KG.
Okay, so what's this argument?
Yeah, like the premise one is that if an object's will and act are equal, then the will and act are in separate mental states. God's will and act are equal, therefore they are in separate mental states. And then, therefore you'd say, like, because they're not separate mental states, the act and the will are comprised of, like, in the same. So, like, it's just going to be, like, and like, we don't, like, for like, an act and will to be the same, but when we say, like, an object changes states from, like, willing to acting, that would be impossible, given the fact that the will and act are the same. So to speak of them separately is impossible, right? It's like similar to saying, like,
well, I'm just, here's what I'm going to do then. Like, I don't think that, like, I don't think that you've actually given an argument for this here. Like, I don't know. I didn't write out exactly what you said. It seems like this gets you to where you're trying to go, though. If an object's will and act are equal, or maybe we would want to say identical, then the will and act aren't separate mental states. If divine simplicity is true, then God's will and act are, and we probably would want to change that to identical. And then we'd have a conclusion something like, if divine simplicity is true, then God's will and act aren't separate mental states. Is that essentially what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay, but this still doesn't actually respond to the argument that I've given, because what I'm saying is that in order to act on an intention, because that's what we're talking about here, we're talking about carrying out an intention, right? And in order to carry out an intention, there has to be an intent mental state, right? And there has to be the action that would involve either being in the act of carrying out the intention or having completed carrying out the intention. What you're trying to say is that God's intention and his, essentially what you're saying, yeah, is that his intention and his action are identical. I don't know. I think that, I don't think that that actually responds to what I'm saying, but I think that this actually opens a different problem. So what I would say is that from divine simplicity, we can just show that it's pretty easy because, okay. So here's what I'm going to say. If God doesn't have parts, then his intention is identical to his action, right? Because that's what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And intentional actions are actions that are grounded in intentions, right?
Wait, sorry, repeat that.
Intentional actions are actions that are grounded in intentions. That's what it means for an action to be an intentional action.
Oh, you're writing it out. It's my bad. Intentional actions are actions that are grounded in intentions. Intentional actions.
Yeah, if an action isn't grounded in an intention, then it's not an intentional action, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And a thing cannot ground itself, right? Because grounding is an asymmetric relationship.
Like, are you saying that, like, the thing that grounds the other thing is metaphysically privileged? Is that what you mean by that? Like,
yeah, what I'm saying is that grounding is an asymmetrical relationship. The relationship from the thing doing the grounding, the relationship the grounder has to the groundee is different than the relationship the groundee has to the grounder.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is just analytically true based on the definition of grounding. Like, the definition of grounding is that it's an asymmetric relationship between two different, events or objects or whatever the relata are. Just the grounding is defined as an asymmetric relationship. So this is not controversial. I think this should be an easy thing that you can accept, because grounding is asymmetric. So therefore a thing cannot ground itself, because if a thing could ground itself, it would be a symmetrical relationship, which would not be grounding, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And you would agree that if God exists, he intentionally acted to create the universe, right?
don't think that like. Not,
well,
I
this
think
is your
that
entire argument to get out of my previous argument, was that he does have will, you know, and that's an intention, and that it's identical to his action. So your whole argument was that he does have a will or an intention and an action. So you can't now say that it isn't an intentional action based on your previous argument. So on pain of contradicting yourself, you would agree that if God exists, he intentionally acted to create the universe, right?
I think that like intentional actions are sequential.
You didn't answer the question.
Yeah, well, yeah, like I think they're sequential, so I don't think like I think saying God like intentionally acted is like a bit queer. Like I don't think that's correct. I think it's nonsense.
Yeah,
Like,
I think what's happening is what you always do, and this is what I told you the last time that I talked to you, is that you are intellectually dishonest, and you're doing the intellectual dishonesty right now. I think in any other normal conversation, you would absolutely agree, of course, God intentionally acted to create the universe, that God's act of creation is an intentional action. I guarantee, I would be willing to bet money that if you weren't in a debate or had some idea that it would be used against you, you would readily and openly agree to that. But because you know that it's in an argument that's going to refute your position, now you refuse to agree to it.
I don't think so. Like given the context, I don't think so. Because I mean, like intentional. I think intentional.
That's my whole point. That's my whole point, is that you're only not agreeing because of the context of this conversation.
I'm saying that I think intentional, like when you say something is like intentionally an action, I think that's sequential. I think that's like sequential thinking, or like that implies that they go.
No, we're not talking about anything being sequential. Did God act on his will?
Did God act on his will? I don't like. I think that's. I don't think so.
Okay, so God didn't act to create the universe?
I think he acted to create the universe.
Did God will to create the universe?
Yeah, but hold on.
Okay, so God willed to create the universe, and he acted to create the universe. So he acted on his will to create the universe, right?
I'm saying that he's not acting on his will in the sense of like.
No, like, we're just saying simpliciter here. You're doing the intellectual dishonesty thing again, Apostle.
Wait, I'm saying that. Listen, I'm saying that like for someone to act on their will. Right, I'm saying that like when you say they act on their will, I think that's different from saying that their will is the same as the action.
Yeah, exactly what you were doing before. All you're going to do anytime we get, to be honest, Apostle, I think I'm probably just done debating you ever again, because this is what you do every single time. You won't ever actually allow a conversation to go unimpeded, because you know that if you do, you can't get out of the arguments that I'm making. So the only thing that you can ever do in any conversation with me is just find something that, like the point where you realize that you're fucked, you immediately sandbag there and refuse to talk about anything else and refuse to acknowledge anything. You did this multiple times on contingency. Yeah, you've done this every single conversation we've ever had. So I guess at this point, I'm going to ask you one more time, and if you can't give a genuine answer, I'm just gonna move on, and we don't need to talk again. So did God intend to create the universe, or does God have the intention of creating the universe?
Well, hold on. I think this is. I'm not like gonna move past the fact that you.
Does God have the intention to create the universe?
Yeah, he has the intention.
Okay, and is God acting to create the universe, or did God act to create the universe? Whatever tensed words that gets out of. I'm not trying to say it as a temporal thing.
The creation of the universe is not. Yes.
Okay, so God has the intention of creating the universe, and God's taking the action of creating the universe, and so that's an intentional action that God is taking to create the universe. And we know that intentional actions are grounded. An intentional action is an action that is grounded in an intent. We also know that a thing can't ground itself. So that means that because of divine simplicity, God's action would have to be grounded in itself, since it's identical to his intention. Therefore, God can't possibly exist. It's just not. It requires a contradictory grounding relationship.
No, wait. I'm saying like he's not. I'm saying that it's not a grounding relation because he's not acting on his will. I think that's saying acting on his will.
All right. Well, I'll just take that as a reductio then. So fair enough. Yeah. I mean, if your position is that God intentionally created the universe but didn't act on his intention, then I think that we're done. Went bad faith twice in the same convo. All right. how's everybody doing? Hopefully everyone's having a good one. Thank you very much, everybody, for the support. Thank you, Poopman Jones. Appreciate you so much. Thank you, KC, as well. You guys rule. Thank you to Bradley Ann and Redhead, Bradley Cooper, both Bradleys supporting. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashley and Flarf Blarf. Goat, thank you so much. Beep and Mickey B. Broken Tree Branch, appreciate you. Thank you, Blondie and Sir Piffington. And Poopman Jones, once again, thank you so much. Lupine, thank you. Casey, again, thank you so much. Lem and Alan Gibson and Poke Karumi. Dabnese, appreciate your support as well. Thank you so much, Lobes. Thank you to Dabnese and Zell and George and Bradley Cooper again. You guys rule. I really, really appreciate the support so much. Thank you immensely. Okay, so who is this person? Just another KG person, and you lied about being in KG, or is this like some other coach that you have? Whatever. You probably don't want to do your post-debate coaching session in my chat. First axiom, KG is a group of LARPers who care only about rhetorical debate wins. That's KG. Okay, so it's just a different debate coach. Well, whatever. I guess if you want to do your post-debate coaching session in here, go for it. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Apollo. How old are you?
I'm 20, actually.
All right, and what version of God do you believe in?
Well, I believe in the Islamic God, actually.
Okay, and then
there's strong evidence favoring the position that there's an omnipotent, omniscient creator. I have like a pretty simple modus ponens argument. You know what modus ponens is, right?
I do.
Okay, gotcha. So I wanted to just type down the argument. So premise one states that if God has internally consistent first order properties, then God exists. Premise two states God has internally consistent. Don't be stoneboxed. Relax. We're just getting started, man. Premise two states God does in fact have internally consistent first order properties. Conclusion: God exists. Which premise do we reject?
Can I just make sure that I understand what you mean by first order properties?
So first order properties are going to be qualitative properties. So in like logic and in metaphysics, you have first order properties and the second order properties. When Kant, for example, says that existence is not a predicate, he specifically talks about first order properties, but existence and modal operators, etc., those would be within the classification of what you call a second order property.
All right, what's the support for the first premise?
Yeah, so premise one is just going to be predicated upon what I call the first order instantiation principle, which states that all things with internally consistent, or sorry, if something is internally consistent first order property, then necessarily it exists. So that is a conditional sentence which operates under what you'd call a strict implication. Do you know what the strict implication is?
No.
So a strict implication in logic is going to be a conditional sentence which utilizes the modal operator of necessity in contrast with just a material implication.
Okay, so what's the support? What's the support for the claim that if something has internally consistent first order properties, it necessarily exists?
So it's going to be predicated upon the fact that there's no counterexample to the prop. And so when you compare both hypotheses, the hypothesis...
No, I'm asking you to support the claim that if something has internally consistent first order properties, it necessarily exists.
I just did.
Okay.
Do you know what abductive justification is?
I know what abduction is.
Okay, so the hypothesis that that claim is true would predict that there's no counterexample. But the negation towards that hypothesis, before I interrupt, the negation towards the hypothesis would not make the prediction. So that claim makes more predictions.
I don't really care about the predictions that it makes. I'm asking you to actually give a positive justification.
Wait, so you can see that there's a prediction? If it makes predictions,
do you just want to do your Joker laugh and your rhetorical laps now, or do you want to actually have a substantive conversation?
I think the only Joker thing in this conversation is a counter argument, right? So I'm telling you right now.
I haven't given a counter argument. I'm asking you to support your claim.
you saying that this would not be evidence is a form of counter-argument, not undercut the defeater by definition. So you said you should not care about predictions, but that's idiotic because
Well, that's not what I said, and I need you to calm down. So do you want to actually have a substantive conversation, or is this just some KG rhetoric bullshit for you?
KG, those people are my sons. Don't ever disrespect them like that.
Oh, gross.
But
yeah, you sound like them. You sound like you've been sucking Kylo's dick.
That's the reason they mimic my rhetoric.
Okay, well, okay, cool. So then you're where they got all that bullshit from. Well, I don't give a fuck about rhetoric, Apollo. I'll say for everybody, Apollo, calm down. I'll tell everybody, yeah, great. Oh, Apollo cooked me rhetorically. Cool. I don't really give a fuck. All I care about is the substance.
Are you going to address the arguments? Or
calm the fuck down, my guy. I don't give a fuck about the rhetoric. I only care about the substance. If what you're looking for is a rhetorical win, just tell me what I need to say for you to get your heart on your rhetorical win. I'll say it, and then we can all move on with our lives. If you care about substance, then I'm asking you to actually justify the substantive claim that you've made.
So you might want to change your diapers. It's currently soaked in period blood.
All right, fair enough. So take care of yourself. Don't ever come back. Phil Bro, who couldn't support his claim, only had rhetoric. Well, I don't give a fuck about rhetoric, just so everybody knows. Oh, I know. Oh my God, I lost so bad. Oh, how will I ever live with myself that I couldn't handle someone who didn't even know how to have a substantive conversation? It's fucking stupid. If you make claims and somebody asks you to support it, it shouldn't be that hard to just provide the support for the claim. If all you want to do is talk about diapers, then you can go somewhere else. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification for your God belief. Okay. Oh, thanks, Bradley Cooper. Hi, yeah, buddy. How old are you?
I am 35.
All right. And what version of God do you believe in?
I believe in the Christianity God.
Cool. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief?
I actually have a question. I talked to you, I think, about 3 weeks ago, and you cooked me on my stance. And I've been looking more into it ever, and I actually just want to praise you. So I believe in God. I know you don't, but I really do enjoy the way that you talk to people and everything like that, and kind of opened up my eyes a little bit more about my faith and everything. And I just want to say, was there a time that you ever believed in God or no? And I'm sorry if this isn't what you're looking for. I was just wanting to get clarification on that.
Yeah, I do actually have a video on my TikTok where I kind of explained my deconversion, but the short version, I guess I don't know how detailed I went in that one, but the short version is I was raised Christian and deconverted at 15.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I do appreciate, like I said, I do believe in God. I'm not super smart at debating anything like that, but I do appreciate, the way that you go about your I'm assuming your atheism.
Yeah, I am an atheist, but yeah, okay. I appreciate the support. Was there an argument that you wanted to discuss today?
No. I just wanted to say that I did, talk to you a couple weeks ago, and you completely demolished anything that I said. I was like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? So I just want to say thank you, you know what I mean? Kind of open up my eyes a little bit more, and yeah, I just wanted to say, I do appreciate you, kind of giving your answers and everything. I have been listening to you more and more, and I guess that was it. Just wanted to say thank you, and I have been listening to your lives whenever I can and everything.
Well, I appreciate the support and everything, and I'm glad that we had a good conversation previously. And typically, what I'll tell people is that you're welcome to come back and cook me whenever you've got a different argument. So I'll tell you the same. If you still believe in God and you come up with a good argument, I'm happy to have you come back and convert me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. It's always good talking to you.
All right, take care.
You too. Bye.
Yeah, and then also, as was mentioned, you can also join the Discord if you want to. That's totally cool. And I have a YouTube for anybody that wants to support over there. And then yeah, thank you everybody for the support. Appreciate you, 24 Carat and Even Seasons, Raw Meat. Thank you so much, Poopman Jones, KC. Appreciate you guys. Well, mostly on my YouTube and my TikTok, I'm posting videos from these debates, right? I'm clipping conversations out of the debates. Phil Bro, people only care more about rhetoric and winning than substance. Yeah, kind of. Phil Bro are people who, yeah, basically people who use philosophical jargon as rhetoric is typically what a Phil Bro is. All right, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Well, a child of God, I don't think I have ever claimed to have cooked anyone. I don't really like that approach. Well, I agree with you, Stephen, mathematics. I also really like philosophy, and they are sophists. But it is never, yeah, thanks, Bradley. It is never my intention to cook anyone. That is not something that I care about. I genuinely don't even care about winning or losing. I care about discussing the substance. That's why the conversations don't go well with people like Apollo, for example. I only care about the substance. And when they do that, rhetoric and trying to, whatever, yeah, just trying to make the conversation about who's winning or whatever, or who looks better, like, I don't care about that. That's not important to me. So again, like, if anybody wants to say Apollo cooked me, by all means, go tell everyone how Apollo cooked me. I don't care. If you want to get it clean, Apollo cooked me. Okay? Like, cool. I don't give a fuck. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Okay? Like, and if that means something to them, fantastic. They can have that. But I currently don't have anybody requesting. If you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God, feel free to come up. I'd be happy to have the debate. But yeah, hopefully we can have some good conversations. Oh shit, you know what I didn't do? 60. I always forget that. Hi, Miss Satanic. Oh, nice. I still need to read Battle for the Big Bang. I have it. I just haven't read it yet. Currently reading some Graham Oppie. Yeah, Obelisk, 100%. That's all they can do. Okay. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification for your God belief. Probably DJ. Let's see if Cooper will join. Well, maybe Cooper's not going to join. All right. Hi, Telly. How old are you?
Nah, I ain't even gonna hop on here, not gonna lie.
Okay. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. DJ, that kind of thing isn't up to me. If people want to bring me, like to do formal debates or have me on stuff like that, they would need to reach out to me and set it up. I've tried a couple different times to try to set up formal debates with people, and it doesn't. Well, both of the two times that I'm thinking of currently where I tried to set up something like that, they had, weird stipulations that they wanted followed, and I just want to discuss the substance, and I'm not going to dox myself for somebody else's pride. Anyway. But anyway, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. TikTok's making it look like my lighting is going crazy, but nothing's happening. It's weird. All right. Hi, Grayson. How old are you?
Didn't mean to join. My fault.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't want children here anyway. Go away. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Well, no, it just keeps going like it's like getting brighter and darker and stuff. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe I'm just overly sensitive to it. Hi, ST. How old are you?
56.
Hello?
Yes.
Are you going to the bathroom?
56. No, why you say that?
All right. I'm not going to do the water noises in the background. All right. If you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for God's existence, please feel free to come up. I'd be happy to have the conversation. But yeah, currently don't have anyone requesting, so I'll be happy to chat. Oh, one thing that I was reading about here, I thought was a really, really interesting response to Pascal's wager. Oppie has an amazing response and that I had never heard before, and I thought it was fantastic. Like the typical idea about Pascal's wager is that basically like the expected value is infinite for believing, therefore you should just believe even if you don't actually have justification. But if you say that, well, actually I'm going to hold off on wagering for God until I win the lottery 3 weekends in a row, well, the expected value on that is also infinite. So it's identical expected value on waiting until I win the lottery 3 weekends in a row and before I wager and believe on God, as opposed to just doing it now. So, and obviously, if God wants me to believe in him, he can allow me to win the lottery 3 weekends in a row. So the expected value on holding off until that happens is exactly the same as just doing it now. So there's no justification for, wagering in favor of God now, as opposed to waiting until I've won the lottery 3 weekends in a row. So I think that that's a fine response to Pascal's wager. As soon as I win the lottery 3 weekends in a row, I will accept Pascal's wager. Yeah, God can win me the Powerball 3 weekends in a row. He shouldn't be a problem for him. Okay. Yeah, I currently don't have any requests. I don't know, maybe we just do a reset. No, winning the lottery doesn't yield infinite benefits. I'm saying that the calculation, if you wait to believe in God, the calculation comes out the same. Like if you wait to win the lottery 3 times before starting to believe in God, the expected results are the same benefits that you would get if you just start believing in God now. The math comes out to the exact same answer. No, my legal name is not Ogar. But if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Cars, how old are you?
Hello? I'm 19.
And what version of God do you believe in?
I'm a theist. Yeah, I'm just a theist.
Okay, so you don't believe in the Christian, Muslim, or Jewish gods?
No.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
Okay. You might don't kick me out, but I think this is very a topic that you should engage with. So P1 is that it's a brute necessity that I'm right, and P.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and reset TikTok here, and I will be back momentarily. Oh, shit. Somebody sent a gift right at the end, and now I feel like an asshole. KC, nobody on fire. Lupine, Saintly. Fuck. I'm an asshole. Okay. Hi, Soup. Okay. Hey, Thistle Honey. Glad to have you back. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Awesome. All right. Hey, thanks, Pokey. Yeah, thanks everybody for tapping the screen. Appreciate it. Helps us get in the algorithm. And I appreciate the shares and the comments and all that. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate everybody. I realized right after I ended, oh shit, I need to turn this back on. YouTube's good now. Okay. I realized right after I ended, before I reset, that there were people who had sent stuff and I didn't thank, and I apologize for that. I know KC and Bradley Cooper and Lupine and others said, and nobody on fire had sent support. Yeah, nobody on fire, and I didn't say anything, so I apologize. I do appreciate it, and I don't want it to seem like I don't, so please know that I appreciate you immensely. Thistle Honey, thank you as well. And then nobody on fire, Lupine, Bradley Cooper, Pokey Gurumi, Poopman Jones, appreciate you guys supporting here on the reset. And again, thanks for the taps and shares and all that. Okay, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a god. We'll get this likely troll out of the way quickly here.
How is God not real, bro?
Okay, so just a child then. Yeah, don't come here if you're a child. Thank you, Ashley, for taking care of that. I sincerely appreciate it. Okay. Once again, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification for your God belief. No, that's not what I want. Really? Okay. Hey, Real Talk, how old are you?
I am 18.
Okay, and what version of God do you believe in?
I have a friend. He was interested in debating you. Is there any way you could do that? I have him on the phone right now.
Like, you want me to debate him over the phone, over TikTok?
Yeah, sorry, it's a little complicated, but is there any way that could work?
It sounds like it's just going to be a huge delay. So, like, how about we just, yeah, if this person wants to debate me, then they can come request when they're able.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay. I don't know why TikTok glitches out sometimes. Okay, but yeah, if you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief, feel free to request up. I'd be happy to chat. I'll kind of throw this shilling stuff up on the screen quickly in case, in the meantime, while we wait for somebody to request up, just so you guys know ways that you can support if you so choose. I've got the YouTube, I've got the Discord, and then my PayPal and Venmo are there if anyone so, is so inclined as to support in that way. Obviously not expected or anything like that, but yeah, workout routine. I just keep it to a pretty simple push-pull legs. I don't really like getting too complex with it. When I'm more in the groove, I would be doing like something more specific powerlifting, but I've been kind of I had fucked up my shoulders, so not really doing powerlifting lately. I'd like to get back to benching heavy, but I don't know if my shoulders will ever let me do it again. Other than that, it's just like walking, and then like I said, a pretty simple push-pull legs split. Yeah. But okay, yeah, if you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God, I'd be happy to chat. I don't know what my max bench would be right now, probably like 275 maybe, but the best I've done before was 325. So nothing crazy, but that's my personal best is 325. I don't think I would even want to bench 275 right now, though. Just because of my shoulders. Like I probably could, but I probably wouldn't want to do it because of my shoulders. I fucked up my my right shoulder in high school. Well, actually, I fucked up both in high school, but my right one was first. Yeah, you don't have to believe it. I don't care. But yeah, if you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification for your God belief, feel free to come in. I'd be happy to have the conversation. Yeah, if you guys are able to tap the screen, share it out, that'd be great. Just trying to get some folks in here to actually have the debate. Well, bring them on up, Tree. I speak facts. See, I'm fluent. Okay, well, maybe we can have a productive conversation here. Hi, Viper. How old are you?
20.
Well, that's not true. Okay. Don't request up if you're a child. In fact, if you're a child, just leave. This is not intended for children. Yes, Trey, when we had to sacrifice a machine soul to get on the internet. Angel, I don't believe in souls. Okay. Yeah, still don't have anybody requesting. Also, thank you, Ashley, for taking care of that for me. Appreciate you being on top of that. But yeah, if you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief, feel free to request. I would be happy to have the debate. Yeah, like I said, currently don't have anybody requesting, but would be happy to have the debate. Yeah, I thought that response to Pascal's wager was really interesting, just because like the math falls or comes out the same. So I think that because the whole argument of Pascal's wager is that, oh, like you expect infinite value. Well, if I have another thing that I also expect infinite value from, then there's no way I can't on expected value. I can't pick one over the other. So there's no reason for me to start believing in God now based on Pascal's wager, as opposed to waiting to win the lottery 3 weekends in a row. What is this? Oh, weird. But yeah, if you're out there and you want to actually have the debate, I would love to. That would be nice. Doesn't seem like anybody is willing to actually to have the debate, though, just like Phil Bros today, I guess, which is disappointing. But hey, maybe somebody will prove me wrong, and hey, maybe somebody will convert me, right? That'd be fun. But what I'm looking for is folks who are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Apparently Luca's not connecting. Orthodox? Yeah. Seems unlikely. Hi, Oscar. How old are you?
Hey there, I'm 28.
You said 28?
Yeah.
Okay. And what version of God do you believe in?
I believe in a Catholic version of God.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief?
I would say that the best argument or judgment is the life experience that a person lives.
Can you elaborate, please?
Yeah, of course. Well, first, may I ask, is that sufficient evidence of something for you?
No, because I have no idea what you're... I don't know
to-
what you're saying. Like, I can't just judge whether or not it's sufficient evidence when I don't know what it is.
Two things. Yeah. Right. There is the experience of the person, right?
I don't know what you're
One who
talking
is
about, Oscar.
being subjected to the experience.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
No. Okay. Then, right. I understand that, right?
Okay, so then repeating the
The
thing that I
issue
told you
is-
I don't know what it means isn't going to help.
Okay, fair enough.
Cool.
So, allow me to bridge the gap.
Okay, so I don't need these like transition filler sentences. Just explain to me what you
Well,
mean and how it
then-
gets us to God.
Then I will. Okay.
That was another
need
transition
to-
filler bullshit. Please stop doing that.
grab your mind to understand the mind of another.
What?
How was that? I need to grab your mind to understand the mind of another.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Oscar. Do you have any argument or evidence for God, or should I just move on?
Well, you're impatient. So
Yes.
Move on.
Yeah, okay.
You're not gonna find anything. You won't.
All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. I didn't really want him grabbing my mind. Okay.
Yo, slurping burp, is that you?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, gawk and slop.
All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, J5. How old are you? Hello. Okay. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Sab. How old are you?
Hey, I'm 20.
All right. And what version of God do you believe in?
Well, I don't particularly believe in a version of God that is written in books.
I didn't ask anything about that. I asked what version of God do you believe in? So you don't need to tell me what you don't believe in.
What version of God do I believe in? I believe in a higher power that can affect our human lives.
Okay, so like an immaterial mind that created and sustains the universe, or would that not be accurate?
Well, I don't really care about the universe. It's more of a pride, self-reflection of believing that you...
All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Yes, I will cut people off either during conversation if they're getting off topic, or I will just end the conversation early at the beginning if they can't tell me what God they believe in. So, yes, I will just cut people off because all I really am interested in is having substantive debates. Well, apparently John isn't going to connect, maybe. Maybe he will. Maybe not. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Christ. Saves an enormous amount of time and energy to just cut off the conversations that aren't going to go anywhere before we spend 20 minutes finding out that that's not going to go anywhere. So once again, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Sworn. How old are you? Hi, how old are you?
Man?
I can. How old are you?
Hi, 33. We actually know each other in real life outside of TikTok.
How's that?
I'm not going to say anything about anybody's personal lives, but I will say quickly that I love you and I miss you, and I hope we get to hang out soon. I would actually come up here as an ally, but I didn't hear that you only wanted to talk to ops. So, but
wait, how do we know each other?
we live in I don't know where you're at these days, but about around 2012-ish year, we both lived in the same town that started with the letter M. And
did we work together?
I used to work at a venue that is no more.
Okay, well could be a few people.
Yeah. I was the one with the curly hair and just a young baby back then.
Okay,
you don't have to say my real name, please don't.
No, you're not who I was thinking of initially, because I was like, this doesn't sound like that person, so it's not who I thought of. Okay, well, hey, hit me up, man. Shoot me a message or something.
Yeah, anytime. Let's get something to eat or get coffee or catch up.
Sounds fantastic.
I'd love to see you. I'm glad to see you on TikTok. I'm glad to see you doing debates. I love this shit. All right, bro. Take care, man.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
Bye.
Well, that's cool. That's happened a couple of times where I've had blasts from the past. I had somebody else hit me up in my DMs that is somebody I used to know. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to be racking my brain to figure out exactly who that was, because there's a couple of... The first person I thought of obviously wasn't him. Fuck, that's going to bug the shit out of me until I get the message and then see who it actually was. Okay, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. No, when you said the venue, I thought, I immediately thought of the dude that used to always do sound. That's who I thought of, but your voice doesn't sound anything like that guy. So that's why I was like, oh, maybe it's probably not that guy. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. It will connect. That's awesome. I'm super stoked about that. Anyway, I will bring up the next guest. That's going to be bugging me all night now. Hi, King. How old are you? All right. Well, that sounds fun. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hey, thanks, Casey. Hi, Steph. How old are you?
49.
Okay. And what version of God do you believe in?
I'm a Christian.
Cool. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in a God?
In a God or my God?
That's up to you.
Our God. Okay, may I ask you a question, sir?
Sure.
Do you believe in a God?
Oh, no, definitely not. I have the
You're
positive... Yeah, I have the
You're an
positive...
atheist?
I have the positive position that I know no gods exist.
My goodness. Can you prove that to me? Please change my mind. I dare you.
Okay. So I think an easy way to do that, well, maybe not easy, but, well, which argument do I want to give? Probably don't want to just run the exact same thing that I've been running. That's too much. Sorry, I'm being indecisive here.
I'm sorry.
No, it's my problem because I have like all these arguments and I do this all the time where it's like, well, I don't want to give an argument that I just gave. And so then I'm trying to think of a different one. Let's just say that, so when we talk about causes and effects, would you agree with me that causes and effects are things that are inside space and time? Like in order for me to, cause my door to open, I have to physically in space and time interact with it, right?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Unless AI is, involved. That makes sense. Like,
well, right, but even if
I can actually open my door without touching it.
Yeah, you don't have to physically touch the door, but there is something that is a process that takes place in space and time that has to be initiated, and the entire the initiation of the process happens in space and time, and the whole process plays out in space and time that results in the effect, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
so what I'm trying to say is that my position is that cause and effect is like what I would call the causal relationship, the relationship between causes and their effects, is a relationship that only happens in space and time. That's what I'm trying to say. Would you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, and then I would say that if God exists, he caused the universe to come into existence, right?
Absolutely. He
Cool.
made it.
Yes, exactly. And if he caused the universe to come into existence, then he caused space and time to come into existence, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. And that means that since he caused space and time to come into existence, that means he's outside space and time, right?
Yes. He
Fantastic.
is definitely, he's definitely, yes, sir.
Okay. So what we found is that God is outside space and time, and he's supposed to be a cause for the universe, but we know that all causes are inside space and time, so that means he can't actually be a cause. But we said that if he exists, he is a cause, so that means that he can't possibly exist.
Sir, I am so sorry, but will you please repeat that for me? Please.
Yep. So we agree that all causes are inside space and time, and we agree that God is outside space and time. So that means that God can't possibly be a cause. But we know that if God exists, he must be the cause of the universe. But since we know that he can't be a cause, and he would have to be a cause if he exists, that means that he doesn't exist.
Okay, I do not believe that all cause and effect happen within...
Well, that was the first thing that we nailed down, Steph. That causes and effects are inside space and time. That was the first thing that we discussed.
I don't believe that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're now going back on what you said before.
Yes, sir. I apologize.
Okay. Can you please help me understand what cause and effect mean if they don't mean the spatial and temporal relationship I was talking about before?
Okay, can you define for me what, like, in space and time, cause and effect mean to you? Like, if there is an eclipse or there is a tsunami, is that all? I guess I'm asking, is that all within the realm that you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yep, those are all things that happen inside space and time. Like an eclipse is the moon moving in front of the sun. Like a lunar eclipse is the moon moving in front of the sun. That's a spatial and temporal relationship. In front of the sun means that it's positioned in space and time such that it's between us and the sun, right? That's how the moon is positioned in a way where it's between us and the sun at a particular time. That means it's a specific spatial relationship and a specific temporal relationship. That's the only way that I can understand causation, is if we're talking about relationships that involve space and time. If you're saying that there's a type of causation that doesn't involve space and time, I have no idea what that would be like, and I'm asking if you can help me understand what that would be.
Okay, do you believe that we could possibly be... Okay, this is crazy, and it's going to be hard for me to explain, but like that there could possibly be different timelines. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's like feasible. Like I can imagine there being different timelines, but I'm not sure how that makes a difference here. What I'm asking for is, what would it mean to say that something is a cause if it doesn't have a relationship in space or time to the effect? I'm saying I don't know what a causal relationship could possibly be if it doesn't involve space and time.
And I don't want to get off topic, talking about like the Berenstein Bears or the...
Are you talking about like Mandela effect stuff?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well that's not relevant here. Yeah, that's not relevant here.
Exactly. I don't want to get off topic. Okay, but do you know that they have discovered...
Well, hold on, Steph. What I'm asking you to do is to help me understand the definition of cause and effect that doesn't involve space or time. because right now where we're at is the only way that I can see that what you're basically doing is you're saying, in order to get out of my argument that God doesn't exist, you're claiming that I've misunderstood space and time. And that's fine. I can accept that it's possible I've misunderstood space and time. So I'm asking you to help me see where my misunderstanding is, so that I can understand space and time, understand causation the way that you do. So it sounds like that's your claim, is that I've misunderstood and misrepresented causation, and I'm asking you to help me with that.
Do you know the story about Adam and Eve?
Yep.
And that would be causation, correct?
What aspect of it?
Adam and Eve were created by God, and they were told not to...
Right, but I'm saying that none of this can even happen, because in order for God to create something, that would be him causing it to come into existence. But if he's outside space and time, and causes are inside space and time, then that means God can't be a cause of any effect. So in order for me to accept any story that includes God being a cause, I would need you to explain to me how causation can work if space and time aren't involved.
Okay, do you believe in karma?
No.
Not at all?
Nope.
What you do will never come back to you to haunt you. Is that right? Is that what you believe?
I do not believe in karma.
Okay. And so you don't believe in Adam and Eve. Are you an atheist?
Yes. We established this right up at the top.
I'm so sorry.
I said that I know.
I apologize.
I said my position is that I claim the knowledge position that God does not exist. I know that there are no gods.
Okay. Again, can you please explain to me about the knowledge position that no religion...
Yep, I gave you the argument. I gave you the argument that it's not possible for God to exist because he would have to be something that is impossible. He would have to be a cause that is outside space and time, while all causes are inside space and time. So what I'm asking you to do, if you think that argument doesn't work, is to explain to me how causes can be outside space and time and not have any spatial or temporal relationship with their effect. So I've been asking this question over and over again for quite a while now. So this is the last time I'm going to ask it. If your response isn't, clearing that up, then I'm just going to move on.
God controls all of space and time, all of it.
Yep, this isn't a response.
Okay, so you can't respond to that, sir.
I didn't say that. I'm asking you to respond to the argument that I gave and explain your rejection of it. You're saying that you don't agree that causes are inside space and time. We talked right away at the beginning of the conversation about how we both agreed that causes are in fact inside space and time, and then you changed your position.
And they are created by God.
Right, but how can God create something if creation is a cause and causes are inside space and time, but God is outside space and time? That's what I need you to explain.
Because God controls everything. Do you believe in free will?
That's just restating the claim again. I asked you to explain how the claim works, not just restate it again. So I don't think that we're going to be able to make any progress here. I appreciate the conversation, and I wish you the best. Okay, well, I didn't even get to drop her because she left. Fair enough. All right. If you are, thanks, Evidence First. Glad to see you here. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. Speaking of support, if you guys want to follow me over on YouTube, that would be great. It's youtube.com/@OgarDebates. Trying to get up to the 1,000 followers, and I'm a long way away from that. Also, I do have the Discord if anyone is interested in supporting there or joining there. Trying to build community there. I think that that's a good opportunity for us to learn and grow together. And then I also do have my PayPal and Venmo there if anybody's interested in joining or supporting that way. If not, no worries, not an expectation. And then the other thing I was going to say in terms of supporting, thank you so much to Puffin J.O., to Christina the Godless, and Poopman Jones, and KC, fucking all-stars. Thank you so much for supporting so much. I sincerely appreciate you both immensely. Thank you to Dipster, and Steph was supporting as well. Thank you for that. Thank you to Lupine and Glitter, and then I'm gonna have to look at this. What is this? User 17039652956. Thank you very much for the support as well. Thank you to Mr. Christ and Nobody on Fire, Thistle Honey, Lupine, Bradley Cooper, and Poke Garumi. Thank you all so much. Poopman Jones, again, appreciate you. Thank you to Mikey and Insomniac as well. You guys are awesome. I really sincerely appreciate the support. Yeah, thank you, Jay McHugh. Okay, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus, that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief, and that you don't beg in the chat to get let up, because that is what will get you skipped. People who beg in the chat never have anything, and so I skip them, because if you then have the patience to wait around, then maybe you've actually got something you're worth talking to. Okay, we'll bring up the next person. Hi, also, how old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
And what version of God do you believe in?
I believe in the Christian God.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief?
I actually came in. I want to know more about you before I go over that, if that's okay with you.
Well, I don't think that our personal histories or personal, details are super important here. What we're discussing is whether or not there's reason to believe in God. Is there some aspect of me that impacts whether or not you have reason to believe in God?
Yeah, I actually came up here to debate your claim, actually.
What claim?
Well, your claim is actually, I think it's too strong of a claim to actually be established as a fact.
What claim?
You were talking about the claim over your head, God isn't real. I think it's it can be established as a fact. There's not enough evidence.
Well, I think that it's very easy to show that God doesn't exist. I'll go through an argument premise by premise, and if you disagree with one of the premises, we can talk about it. If you agree, I'll move on to the next one. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'll give you a chance, but it's already been debated. But I'll hear you out.
Okay, so premise one: God has a mind. Do you agree or disagree?
God has a mind, clearly. Yeah.
Okay. And do you agree that minds have either changing mental states or only one unchanging mental state?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you agree that change only occurs in time?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. And then do you agree that God exists outside of time?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then we can conclude from those first four premises that God has only one unchanging mental state. And then premise 5 is that acting on one's will changes one's mental state. Do you agree?
Can you repeat that?
Acting on, like an agent acting on their will requires them to change their mental state, right? Like I have to go from I intend to go on a walk to the mental state I went on a walk. So I have, my mental state has to change in order for me to be able to act on my will.
Right.
Okay. And
actually, I don't want to be disrespectful. The truth is I just wanted to debate your claim, because
that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's just like you obviously have clear reasoning.
Right, so that's what we're doing right now also. Yeah. So if you want to debate my claim, then you can engage with the questions I'm asking you, because that's us debating my claim.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so I said acting on one's will changes one's mental states. Do you agree?
Yes.
Fantastic. So what that means, because we know that God has unchanging mental states, and acting on one's will requires a change of mental states, that means that God can't act on his will. But if God can't act on his will, he can't create the universe. But if God exists, he did create the universe. Therefore, by the power of modus tollens, God does not exist. And if God doesn't exist, then God isn't real. So that's how I support my claim. God isn't real.
Okay. Well, it was a good debate, Olgar. I'm gonna be honest with you.
So you don't have any response?
No, it's just I just wanted to make this clear that your claim hasn't been a proven actual fact.
I just did it right now in front of you. I did it with you. You agreed with all the steps.
Yeah, but that's not 100% factual
it is.
Either way.
Yes, it is 100%.
No.
Yep.
Okay, you're right.
It's a deductive proof. That's what deduction is.
Olgar.
So do you have any response that would show that my claim is too strong and that I went wrong somewhere in the argument that I just gave?
You basically just said like the God's mind and like out of mind and like, you know, Like I don't.
Yeah,
really
I showed
go...
that it's not possible for God to exist. That's what I showed.
Right. So
and you don't have a
bunch of
response, correct?
Because if it was a proven fact that God isn't real, how come there's a bunch of religions?
So do you have any response to my demonstration that God can't possibly exist? Or do you agree?
No, you're making logic, right? You're making reasoning, but it's not proven 100%. Like,
all right. Well, you can just say that you don't understand logic. So I recommend that you look into logic and how logic works, and then maybe you can come back another time. Okay. If oh wait, I don't want to do this. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. Okay. Asked for the argument, refused to engage with it. What are you going to do? Hey, we got up over 6,600. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for the support and the follows. I sincerely appreciate it. It's super awesome to see that number climbing like it has. And I know that it's only because of how much you guys support me, and I'm so grateful, and I don't want it to seem like I'm not. So I just want to remind everyone once again that I am sincerely grateful for all your support. Thank you. Okay, we'll bring up the next person. Oh, actually, first out in the theme of saying thank you to where we got Tree and Insomniac and Trev and Lem. I appreciate you all very, very much for the support. Yes, Bri Guy, I have looked at the trees before. Unfortunately, the trees tell me that there is no God. In fact, thanks, Dragoon. Hello, Tree.
Hello. Member of the tree community here.
My claim is that the trees tell me there is no God. What's your response?
Yes, and while some trees do lie, this tree does not.
Boom.
There is no God. There is only Eunice, the universe farting unicorn, who once ate a spicy hypotenuse, which is why we have math and shit.
I rest my case.
Yeah, and that's clearly true. And I also wanted to say, like, I was mistaken earlier. My friend didn't want to argue via fax. They wanted to argue being singing Telegram, and that's just too awkward.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We only support TikTok and smoke signals here.
Yeah. We'll have to schedule the barbershop quartet, battle later.
So wait, does that mean that I have to send my rebuttals back via barbershop quartet?
Barbershop Blez, like I don't know, barbershop, fry vocals.
That does sound
New
fun.
Genre incoming.
Oh man, now I really gotta go do some cooking. Cook that up.
Right. But anyway, yeah. Here's this tree reminding you, God's not real. Friends and family and community and the wonderfulness of life is. So quit being a silly Billy and just enjoy the vibes, y'all.
Oh, love you, Tree. Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
See ya. I mean, you heard it here straight from the tree's mouth. Okay, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. All right. Hi, John. How old are you?
I'm 18.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ. I'm Christian.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
I have a question. Why do you not believe in God?
Because there's no evidence to suggest that God exists and lots of evidence to suggest that he doesn't. But I'd be happy to change my position. What's the argument or evidence that God does exist?
So who do you think made us?
Well, my parents made me, and I'm going to guess that your parents made you.
Who do you think made the world, the universe, all this?
I don't have any reason to think that it was made by someone.
Why not?
What do you mean, why not? No one has ever presented a reason to think that the universe or the world were made by anyone. Is there a reason to think that they were made by someone?
Of course.
Okay, what's that reason?
God.
No. No, what's the reason to think that the universe was made by a God?
What do you mean, what's the reason?
You got to work on your rage bait, my guy. What's the reason to think that God made the universe?
I'm not rage baiting.
Okay, so what's the reason to think that the universe was created by a God?
What is your reasoning not to believe in that?
So you've got nothing? You begged to come
No,
up here
you're
and
a
this is all you've
fucking
got?
Fat chode, you fucking fat bitch.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Oh. Yeah. And that's why I don't bring up people who beg, because that's what they do. So like yourself, David Tunkus, begging in the chat, I know that if I brought you up right now, that's what would happen again. I'm not going to do it. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. All right. I don't know, Solo. I would love to have a good debate, though. Hi, Reaper. How old are you?
Hey, I'm 26.
Okay. And what version of God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God? I can't hear you if you're not on the app.
Bad. My apologies. So I'm going to go back to when you were talking about God being outside of space and time. I don't remember what her name was when I first joined. She was kind of running you around in circles and then just hopped off. But essentially, the way that I view it is God is outside of space and time because if everything is created by him, he would be outside of space and time, but his influence can change in space and time. So he can be in both places at once. That's kind of the way, if he
Okay, well, this isn't an argument, and this doesn't actually respond to anything that's on the table right now. She and I were talking about space and time because it was relevant to the specific argument that was happening. But
Sure.
What I'm looking for would be whatever you think the best argument or evidence is that would provide justification to believe in a God.
Sure, and I mean, honestly, that's kind of when I was first listening, that actually was kind of where I was going with it, is where he can be both in and out at the same time, like that.
Okay,
I mean,
so you're saying that
he can't be...
is it your position that God is both inside space and time and outside space and time?
Correct. He's in and out of it
Okay.
because he created it.
All right, so I will give you an argument of why that means God doesn't exist. So we're going to say if God exists, he is both inside space and time and outside. Ooh, I can't spell. Outside space and time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If something is inside space and time, then it experiences the passage of moments. If something is outside space and time, then it does not experience the passage of moments. So then what we would say is if God exists, then he both does and does not experience the passage of moments. And then we would say things that have contradictory properties do not exist, so God does not exist. So based on your argument that God is both inside and outside space and time, if he exists, then we can conclude that that God does not exist. Oh, fair enough. I was hoping for some response to the argument and not just running away, but whatever works for you, Reaper. All right. Yes, Luna. That guy just bailed. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Hello, how old are you?
Hello, I'm 22.
And what version of God do you believe in?
I'm Muslim. I believe in Allah.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
I was honestly more curious as to kind of how you were earlier talking about like your disproof of God. I want you, if you don't mind, explaining again why you don't believe in him and the whole space-time kind of argument.
You're talking about the causation one that I've been talking about all day?
Yeah, because I believe like the way you're saying the argument, you're assuming that God follows the rules that we would follow. The entire point of God's existence is that...
Are you saying that logic doesn't apply to God?
I'm saying that he's past logic. If there's a being...
Right, so you're saying that logic doesn't apply to God?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
If
then I'm
God's
going to
wrong.
give the argument that I'm going to give you. I'll just throw it up right up on the screen right away. If the laws of logic don't apply to God, then the law of identity doesn't apply to him. If the law of identity doesn't apply to God, then he is what he isn't and isn't what he is. It's not possible to have a thought about something that is what it isn't and isn't what it is. And also, it's not possible to have a belief about something that it's not possible to have a thought about. Therefore, if the laws of logic don't apply to God, then it's not possible to have a belief about God. And obviously, if it's so, your position entails that it's not possible to have a belief about God, which means that you would, in order for you to be consistent, you would say that you don't have a belief about whether God exists or not, because it's not possible. The fact that you have taken the position that you do believe that God exists means that you, in fact, do think that the laws of logic apply to God. So you are now engaged in a performative contradiction.
The entire reason that the whole debate of God existing hasn't been answered.
Why don't you respond to what I said?
If you don't mind, if I'm trying to talk and give an argument,
no, you're not gonna.
I can't tell you anything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
you can't
let
just cut me off anytime I'm trying to talk.
Yeah, I can. So, and what I'm not gonna do is allow you to. I'm not gonna allow you.
If anybody's argument gets through and it kind of makes sense, you're just gonna cut them off.
So I'm just asking you to actually engage with the substance. So engage with the argument that I presented.
Engaging with the substance.
Fantastic. So what's your response? So which of these premises do you reject?
I reject all of them based on the fact that you're assuming that God exists.
So you reject that if the logic, you reject that if the laws of logic don't apply to God, then the law of identity doesn't apply to him?
Yes, because he's not an identity. He's not a person you just talk to.
Okay, so what you're actually saying is that in fact you simply don't understand how conditionals work, is what it sounds like.
You're thinking of the Christian
So can you
God.
explain? No, I'm not. Can you explain what a conditional is?
Okay, but once again,
can you explain what a conditional is?
If you want to,
can you explain what a conditional is? Or do you just not know what it is? So can you explain? Okay, so here's the thing. So
you can't just cut people off.
Yeah, I will cut anyone off who doesn't engage in the substance. So I will give you one more opportunity to engage in the substance. And if the next thing that you say, the next words that come out of your mouth are anything other than a substantive engagement in the argument I presented, then I will take that as a concession and I'll just move on. So for the last time, give me a genuine answer. Which, if any, of these premises do you reject?
So I have one thing. So I joined and I'm trying to give you my argument.
Fair enough. Well, you didn't come up to give your argument. You came up to discuss my argument. You asked me to give an argument. Then, in order to protect yourself from my argument, you tried to say that logic doesn't apply to God. I responded. Notice how everything I said was directly responsive to the substance of what you had to say. And then what you wanted to do was run away from the substance. Not going to allow it. All right. Oh, fucking goddamn notepad. All right. And yeah, just so nobody's confused, if you come up here and you won't engage in the substance, you will get interrupted and then you will get dropped. If you engage in the substance, you can talk all you want. If it's substantive, I will not interrupt. Okay. Okay. Cried because I wouldn't let him rabbit trail. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Aiden. How old are you?
I'm 18.
And
how are you?
I'm doing just fine, thanks. What version of God do you believe in?
Yeah, I believe in Jesus Christ, God. I suppose
I probably could have guessed that from your profile picture.
Yeah, I don't really like putting titles on religions. I mean, because then a title has so much history behind it. So I just believe in Jesus. I believe in God.
Okay.
And my question for you is, how do you think we were created? Who do you think? I'm not who, because whenever people think of God, they think of a person. That is Jesus. God could literally just be an essence.
Okay, I don't want all this bullshit. Just if there's a question, just get to the question.
Yeah, what do you think we came from?
Well, I came from my parents, and I'm going to guess that you came from yours.
No, I mean like what created like the world, all of it.
I don't have any reason to think that the world was created.
You think we were just put here?
No, I don't have any reason to think we were put here. That saying that we were put here implies intent, and I don't think that we came into existence as a result of any intent.
Yeah, so who created?
Yeah, I don't think that it was created. I don't know how many ways I have to say it.
So you think we came from the Big Bang Theory?
No. That's just a misunderstanding of what the Big Bang Theory is.
Yeah. So
okay. So do you have any argument or evidence, or just incredulity?
Bro, I'm asking you. Do you
Okay,
think
well,
we
I'm
came
done with
from,
the
like,
questions
evolution?
now because they're not going anywhere. So do you have any argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
You're scared to answer my question. God
Oh, I
bless
know.
Senator
Oh, my
Mel.
God, I'm so scared. Oh. Well, who made us? Well, then who created us? Well, then who made us? Well, but then who created us? Well, you don't believe that we were created? But then who made us? Yeah, that's not going anywhere. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief.
What up, man?
Hi, how old are you?
I'm 21. We're going.
And what version of God do you believe in?
A version of God? I believe in self-God.
I'm sorry?
God. Self-God. That's what I believe in.
Oh,
God
okay.
is...
Well, that's not the kind of thing that I'm
Again,
talking
God.
about, so I don't really want to have just like a verbal dispute. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Luca, how old are you? Fair enough. Could I get a mod to block that person? Or I can try to look them up. Blocked. Okay. All right, so if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Yeah, I got it. Thanks, bots. You know that I appreciate you. Hi, Belt. How old are you?
18.
When were you born?
2008.
What was your last math class you took?
Geometry.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, maybe next year in 9th grade, you'll take algebra. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, AG?
Do you hear me?
I do. Is it AG?
It's AJ.
AJ? Oh, weird. Okay. Yes. How old are you?
25.
Okay. And then what version of God do you believe in?
Islam. I'm Muslim.
Cool. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide reason to believe in a God?
First of all, I would say I believe in God. I think any argument lands on some
Okay, I don't really want all this. I don't care about all this like preamble stuff. Okay. I just want the argument or evidence, please.
We can go with contingency argument. Contingency.
Sure. Which version of the contingency argument do you want to discuss?
The basic model of contingency, like saying that anything that exists is either necessary or contingent, and we couldn't have an infinite regress of contingent things, so there must be a necessary being, which actually explains anything.
So why can't there be an infinite regress of contingencies?
Because it would lead to an absurd thing called infinity ending.
Yeah, don't say that it would lead to an absurd thing. Show that it would do that. Show that there's a problem. Don't just say that there's a problem.
Because any contingent thing has an explanation for its existence, and this contingent thing has an explanation for its existence, so we wouldn't have any explanation for a contingent.
If there's an infinite regress of contingent things explaining contingent things, then it is the case that every contingent thing has an explanation. So you haven't shown that there would be a problem with the infinite regress yet. I'm asking you to actually address the claim that there would be a problem if there was an infinite regress of contingencies.
Yeah, because you would assume that an infinite regress would end.
How so?
Because we are talking right now, and prior to us are
What are you talking about? There would be an end. What are you, AJ?
Right
AJ, what are you talking about that an infinite thing would have to end? What do you mean?
Because we are talking.
Are you talking about are you saying if time was temporal? Or
yes,
time was if time was infinite?
If you believe time is infinite, then
I never said anything about time being infinite. I never said anything about time being infinite. You are claiming that there is a problem with an infinite contingent regressive contingency. That's what you need to address. Bringing up this stuff about temporality is irrelevant, AJ. AJ, excuse me. Hello. AJ, you got to stop interrupting me. I'm trying to get us back on track here. So what's happening right now is that you are making the claim that there cannot be an infinite regress of contingencies. I'm asking you to support that. We are not talking about anything temporal. So temporal talk is dodging the actual issue at hand. I'm not going to allow you to run away to a different issue. So provide your justification that there cannot be an infinite regress of contingencies.
Wait, didn't you?
So I'm going to put it up on the board. I'm going to put it up on the board. No, I'm not going to let you talk because you're not engaging in the substance. So the claim that's on the board right now, the claim here is that there cannot be an infinite regress of contingencies. And so now what I'm looking for is the support for the claim. So what is the support for the claim that there cannot be an infinite regress of contingencies?
So the evidence would be that an infinite regress of contingency would lead to infinite explanations for each contingent thing. And the reason we are talking right now actually proves that there can't be infinite explanations before us to reach this exact point.
Nope, this is, again, you're trying to run away to temporal stuff. Don't stop doing that. So what is the justification? What is the justification, AJ? AJ, we're not talking about causal. We're talking about contingency, dude. If you don't even understand, like, okay, maybe this is just on me, that I made the mistake of thinking that you understood the words that you're using. So what do you mean when you say contingency?
That something has a prior cause.
Okay, well, you know what? That is totally on me for thinking that you actually understood the philosophical definition of the word contingency. I apologize for thinking that you would actually know what that meant. Okay, so we're not actually talking about contingency. We're talking about dependence and like a chain of causes and effects.
Okay, so what does contingent mean on your account?
Could have failed to exist.
Okay, could have failed to exist.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about in modal language.
Why it exists?
No.
Rather non-exist, right?
No, that's not guaranteed. No, that doesn't follow. So what now that I understand
rather than non-exist?
Now that I understand that you're actually talking about,
so something just pops out of existence.
Okay, so what you're saying is that for everything that exists, you can give an account for why it exists instead of not existing?
Yeah, why is
okay, so what's the account for why?
Nothing?
Yeah, why does God exist instead of not existing?
Why is there something
so what's the explanation for why God exists instead of not existing?
Can you explain? Can you explain why is there something rather than
now
nothing?
The question that's on the table is because your
why
claim.
Is there something
all right, so we're going to go ahead here and we're going to say the claim. There is an explanation for why anything that exists obtains instead of not obtaining. So now, what is the support for that claim?
There's no explanation
so I'm going to ask the question one more time. If you don't engage in the substance, then I'm just going to take it as a concession and move on. So what is the support for the claim? What I want is like the explanation for why God exists instead of not existing. So what is the explanation for why God exists instead of not existing?
It's rude.
Right, so it doesn't have an explanation?
Yes.
Ah, fantastic. So you just contradicted yourself. Everything that exists must have an explanation. Oh, except for this thing that I don't think needs an explanation. Oh, but I'm the one who is crazy for thinking that maybe there are things that exist that don't have an explanation. What a fucking moron. Edu, asking to be a mod is not going to get you made a mod. Yes, that guest was extremely annoying. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. What is happening? What's wrong with the screen? If I bring somebody up, might it fix it? I'm sorry, it's glitchy. I don't know what to do. Okay, well, I'll bring up the next person. Hi, Genius. How old are you?
I'm 51.
And what version of God do you believe in?
That's the problem. I don't really believe in a God. I just wanted to make a comment. I can't prove you wrong.
Okay, well, we're not just making comments here. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Okay, apparently that person's not joining either.
Hello?
Oh, maybe they are. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, Johnny.
And what version of, excuse me, how old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay, and how would I spell Johnny?
Johnnny.
Fair enough. And what God do you believe in?
I believe in science, but yeah. Well, I mean, not necessarily believe. I prefer quantification. Objective reality.
Okay, what God do you believe in?
Fourth dimension, robot in the sky.
All right, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in your God. All right. Hi, Streets, how old are you? All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Good to see you too, Moon. Hi, Tyler. How old are you?
19.
And what version of God do you believe in?
I think religion is a hoax.
That doesn't answer my question. You're just not going to answer?
I don't believe in religion.
I didn't ask about a religion. I didn't say anything about a religion. So what God do you believe in?
Just skip me.
If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification for your God belief. Hi, Boring. How old are you?
Oh, wait, shit. Wait, my bad. Wait, wrong room.
Okay. Hi, Chicken Wing.
Good?
How old are you?
22.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Rational, omnipotent.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah, just one that can do anything logically possible. And it's going to have a rational mind as well, in this case.
Okay, so just like an immaterial, rational, omnipotent mind that created and sustains the universe?
Yes, sir.
All right, what's the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in such a being?
Well, I think the contingency argument is pretty successful with establishing a necessary thing, which would be ultimately what I'm going to be believing in. Do you have any contingents with that argument?
Yeah, I think that any contingency argument that seeks to establish a necessary thing is just going to fall to modal collapse. Then we're just going to say that, in fact, the universe must be necessary. And I already believe in a necessary universe without the need of, an immaterial, omnipotent mind to explain it. And so just on the theoretical virtue of parsimony, I'm just going to prefer my view to yours.
Okay, and when you say that the universe is going to be necessary, what's necessary going to be? Is it going to be operating like under an Aristotelian metaphysics type necessary, or a different type of necessary?
I'm just talking about modal necessity.
Modal necessity. Would that entail like in fully actualized state, no potency couldn't fail to exist? If not, could you please tell me what that would entail?
I don't think necessity entails lack of potency, but it would just say modal necessity just means can't fail to exist.
Can't fail to exist. Does it also entail that it could not have been different?
Depends on the type of necessity you're talking about.
The one that you're operating under.
Well, what I'm saying right now is that any contingency argument that is going to seek to establish a necessary cause for the universe, that's going to commit you to the initial state of the universe being necessary. It wouldn't necessarily commit you to determinism, and therefore you wouldn't have to be a necessitarian after the initial state of the universe being necessary, but it would commit you to the initial state of the universe being necessary. So if it's possible to believe in a universe that has a necessary initial state without needing a God to explain it, which that is a perfectly reasonable position, then on parsimony we should prefer that position to the one that requires a God as part of the explanation, because it's extraneous.
Yeah, so when you said it's going to commit you to modal collapse, I'm not too sure that would be true. And by modal collapse, I assume that you mean here everything's going to be necessary, given that this would be the case? Is that what you mean here by...
It's what I just got done saying. Yeah, the last thing that I just said.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I wouldn't take that to be applicable. I'd take like a Cartesian voluntaristic account when it comes to God, which is to entail that there's going to be sovereign worlds.
So you're just talking about some kind of like agent causation bullshit?
I'm not too sure what's being said there. Could you expound?
You don't know what agent causation is?
Agent causation in terms of, that's a bit vague. If you can like expound a bit further.
No, I'm there is nothing to expound. I'm asking if what you're appealing to is agent causation.
I don't know what's being said there. Like, you can't clarify a bit further?
Okay, so you don't know what agent causation is? Is that what you're saying?
Not in the way that you're referencing it. Probably not. Or
well, there is no way to reference it. There's a concept in philosophy called agent causation. I'm asking if that's what you're appealing to when you talk about this Cartesian thing.
I'm not too sure I'm agnostic to that. No, in regards to the Cartesian voluntaristic account, it would just be sovereign worlds that will be willed into existence and some worlds that would not be.
Okay, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Well, that's in reference to the Cartesian voluntaristic account that I hold to.
Right, but I'm saying that's irrelevant to what I'm talking about. So if you're going to say that the chain of contingencies bottoms out in a necessary thing, if the necessary thing is sufficient for the first contingent thing, well, then that first contingent thing is necessary. And therefore, there is no contingency to be explained. That thing isn't a contingency that needs to be explained.
Yeah,
so that's the modal collapse.
No, I wouldn't hold to that.
Okay, well, so then what is the sufficient cause or grounding of the initial state of the universe?
What's the initial? What would be the necessary thing under my view?
No, what specifically is the sufficient cause or set of causes that brought about the initial state of the universe?
The rational mind.
Okay, so just the mere existence of the rational mind is sufficient to instantiate the initial state of the universe?
Correct.
Okay, so, and do you understand what sufficient means?
One that comes with some form of benefit?
No. So you, okay.
How are you using it?
So this is why Philbro LARPers are so fucking annoying, because you come up here using all of these.
What?
Obviously you are. If you come up here and you don't even know like basic things like contingency, agent causation, you don't understand like the problem with modal collapse, like obviously you're LARPing.
I'm asking you to clarify them. You can be clarified. So I think you're the one LARPing here, actually.
Yeah. So what exactly are you asking me to clarify?
Yeah, so in regards to this...
sufficiency. No, I'm asking if you know the definition of sufficiency. That's what we were on. So you're saying you don't know what sufficient means.
Well, in virtue of my conceptual schema, I already told you what I take it to be.
That's not what I asked. That's not a response. So do you know what sufficient means?
Yeah, I just gave you a definition.
Okay, what's the definition?
Yeah, one that's going to come with some form of benefit.
Where did you get that definition?
In virtue of my conceptual schema.
No, like, where did you get that? Like, who uses the word that way? Name a philosopher that uses the word sufficient that way.
I'm not too sure of any philosophers that use it that way. I think that definitions would be subjective. So in virtue of that,
okay. So it's just you're just using idiolect. So you're just using idiolect. So you're just trying to obfuscate by using words in weird ways.
I would like to address the modal collapse objection that you gave, because I don't think it would be applicable here.
Okay, so sufficiency means like if A is sufficient for B, then that means that necessarily A entails B. Do you know what entails means?
Yeah, I wouldn't hold to that.
Okay, so my question then is, with that definition of sufficiency in mind, what is the sufficient cause or set of causes that instantiates the initial state of the universe?
I already told you it would be the necessary being in this case.
Okay, so under the definition of sufficient that I gave, then the existence of the rational mind, the necessary mind, is what instantiates the initial state of the universe. That is sufficient?
Yeah, I just said that like 4 times in a row.
Well, I had to clarify what sufficient means, and I'm just trying to clarify that under the definition that I've given, that you're saying that the existence, we'll say, the existence of the necessary rational mind is sufficient to instantiate the initial state of the universe. Is this correct? Under my definition of sufficient?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then we're going to say, if a cause is sufficient for an effect, then the effect is instantiated in all states of existence where the cause is instantiated. If a thing is necessary, it is instantiated in all states of existence, or maybe we should put it this way, in all this will be easier to follow, I think. If it is instantiated in all possible worlds, and it is necessary to instantiated in all possible worlds. And since we know that the necessary rational mind, well, maybe we'll just put this in here. The necessary rational mind is instantiated in all possible worlds, because that's what it means to be necessary. So then the initial state of the universe is instantiated in all possible worlds. If that first conclusion, the initial state of the universe is necessary, and the initial state of the universe is necessary. So which premise would you reject?
Yeah, I reject premise 5.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you just reject the definition of the word necessary?
No, I reject the initial state of the universe would be necessary.
So do you not know what this means? Okay, so maybe just to help you out here. That's what I was saying in premise 5. If the initial state of the universe is instantiated in all possible worlds, then the initial state of the universe is necessary. That's just what being necessary means, to be instantiated in all possible worlds.
Okay.
Okay, so since you're not going to reject the definition of the word necessary, you would, unless you're going to reject the definition of the word necessary, then you don't want to reject premise 5. So which premise would you reject?
Wow, could you scroll down a little bit so I can see the rest of C2?
Yeah, it's literally just the word necessary.
Yeah, I would reject the conclusion.
Okay, all right. Well, fair enough. I think that that's probably about the best that we're going to get out of a LARPer like you. Well, actually, I'll just reject the conclusion. C, Your Honor, I want to reject C. I guess the nice thing about LARPers like that is that they're entertaining when they do that to themselves. Oh, yes, Abby's an angel. He rejected the conclusion. Oh, god damn it, I keep pressing the wrong fucking button. I wrote out that entire argument, too. That was a massive fucking argument. Of course I'm not going to let you back up, you moron. I reject C. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Yeah. What I'm dodging, Chicken Wing, is the waste of my time that it would be to continue talking to you. That's what I'm dodging. Yeah, absolutely, Red. Exactly. If I was actually equivocating, if there was an actual problem with my argument, he could have pointed that out. Correct, life's a glitch. We cannot reject conclusions in any case. You can reject a premise, or one or more premises, or you can reject the inference rule. Those are legitimate things to reject. And you can say, I agree with the premises, but I don't agree with the conclusion because of the inference rule. And that would be a rejection of the inference rule, but not a rejection of the conclusion, right? So you don't, when presented with a syllogism, it's never a legitimate response to say, I reject the conclusion. You would say that you reject, like I said, either one or more premises or the inference rule itself. So pretending to know philosophy. Yeah, exactly, Ashley. Pretending to know philosophy and then coming up here not even knowing what necessary means. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, if you're in the guest queue thinking about joining, make sure you're... Oh, before I do that, before I move on to the next person, thank you so much, everybody that's been supporting. Thank you, Hercules and Lupine. Thank you so much to Paulie D and Liz. Thank you so much for being here and supporting. Thank you, Left Leaning Infantry and Lupine again. Thank you so much. Gitano and Owly, thank you. Infectious Bites. Thank you everybody so much sincerely for the support. I really do appreciate it. I don't know, people have mentioned before me doing like Q&A lives. I'm not sure if that's something that anybody would actually want or how much anybody would want it. I mean, it's something that I could do if it would be beneficial, but I just have no idea if that's something that people would find beneficial. No, I do not do political debates. Okay. Maybe ECR is not going to connect. Love you too, Nick. No, they're not connected, Red. At least it says they're not connected on my side. Well, we're turning the camera off. Hello? All right, fair enough. All right, so don't currently have anybody requesting. If you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief, feel free to request. Yeah, definitely don't turn your camera on. Hi, Sarah, how old are you?
I'm 18.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Yeah, so I'm a troll, bro. Kick me. So I can...
All right. Oh, thanks, Pokey. Am I doing okay? Yeah, I'm doing great. I got to see some family today. It was awesome. Yeah, I'm not bringing you back up, ECR. Not after turning the... Actually, what I'm going to do here is when people come up with the cameras on, what we get you is a block. All right. I look tired? Okay. If you say so. Yeah, Mega Man. I saw my mom today, and she goes, "Now who's that on your shirt?" I thought that was funny. My mom rules. I don't know how you guys feel about your moms, but my mom's awesome. My mom's cool as fuck. But yeah, currently do not have anybody requesting. Who's my favorite Mega Man character? Just Mega Man. Mega Man X. Doomsday trailer. I mean, I think I saw it. I don't know. I don't care that much about it. Your mom's better than my mom? I don't know about that. My mom's fucking awesome. Oh, that's awesome that your mom introduced you to Mega Man X. I was introduced to it by my cousin, actually. Oh, damn. Thank you. Fuck yeah. Thank you so much, Philo Dragon. That's fucking awesome. Appreciate you immensely. That's fucking awesome. Thank you so much, Philo Dragon. And also Rust Bucket. I know you were talking about maybe sending some stuff, so thank you so much for doing that. Genuinely appreciate it. Okay. If you are in the guest queue, or if you're thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Damn, Rust Bucket, you're going nuts. Thank you so much. Sincerely, Rust Bucket, thank you. I really appreciate all the support. That was a lot. Damn. And that wasn't like one coin little things either. That's fucking awesome. Thank you. Well, it does not seem like Runehouse is going to join. Well, that's sincerely appreciated, Rust Bucket. I never expect people to do that, and when you do, like, it just genuinely, like, it means a lot to me, and I want you to know how much I appreciate it. Yeah, there's been some glitch, Philo Dragon. I don't know. Well, I mean, that's true, Abdi, that TikTok takes 50%, but I'm not going to tell people that they have to send me money on PayPal or Venmo. If they want to support through here and they want the, like, animations and stuff, then by all means, do that, you know? Like, I'm not here to tell anybody, like, if you want to support, thank you. But anything, or excuse me, anyway, who's this? Preston, thank you as well. Liz Biz, oh, for the hat and mustache, that's so awesome. Thank you, Liz. And Rust Bucket, thank you so much for all the support. That sincerely is so appreciated. Okay, but if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Okay. Should I call you Preston?
You can call me Preston.
Okay. And what version of God do you believe in?
I believe in Yehovah.
I don't know. Do you just mean the Christian God?
That is, you can call him the Christian God.
Cool. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification for belief in a God?
My testimony.
And since there's testimony from every religious tradition and people outside of religious traditions, I don't have any way to know, like, which testimony I should believe and which ones I shouldn't. What would be the tool that I could use that would help me determine who is and who is not accurately interpreting their personal experiences?
I think the best tool is, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a brilliant person.
Yeah, I don't need all this. I just need you to tell me what method I would use. Like, what is the thing that I could do if I have 10 people in front of me all telling me that I should accept contradictory conclusions based on personal experiences? How do I tell which, if any, of them I should believe?
Well, there's a way to find out evidence, right? For example, in our system of government.
Okay, so it wouldn't be anything about the personal experiences. We would have to go to some external evidence?
I mean, evidence is defined in all our laws here in the States.
No, I'm asking you what I would do if I had 10 people all presenting me with interpretations of personal experiences, and all 10 of them contradict each other. So at most, I can only accept one of them. How do I tell which one I should accept, or should I just reject all of them?
You can reject any of them.
Okay, is there any way to determine if I should accept one of them?
That's up to you to decide.
Okay, so you don't know of a way to tell if someone is or is not accurately interpreting their personal experience.
Yes.
Okay,
Sure,
so that means
I
that
can't
you
tell.
don't have a way to tell if you even interpreted your own personal experience correctly.
Of course.
Okay, so you don't actually have a reason to believe what you believe, you just believe it regardless.
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm looking for reasons to believe in God. If your whole position is I don't have a reason, then I don't know what to tell you. There's not a lot we can do. I don't have a reason to believe. All right, if you... I should make a list of rules. Yeah, I mean, probably. All right, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. I don't know if compensation is going to connect. Oh, all right. 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. All right. I don't know if that's a connection issue or maybe they waited too long or something. I don't know. If you... thank you, Lem, for the support as well. Appreciate you. Exactly, Philo Dragon. Lift off indeed. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Odyssey. How old are you?
22.
Okay, and what version of God do you believe in?
Catholic. I'm a Catholic.
Cool.
Jesus Christ.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief?
I mean, I kind of just think about it like this. I mean, so let's say, like, how you're saying that there isn't a God at all. So let's say you die and there isn't a God, and, you know, what do you believe happens after you die?
So are you just going to run Pascal's wager?
Excuse me?
Is this just Pascal's wager?
I don't know what that is.
Something like, you know, if you're wrong and you die, nothing happens. But if I'm wrong and I die, I go to hell. If you're right and you die, you go to heaven. But if I'm right and you die, nothing happens. Or like, or whatever. Like, there's infinite benefit if you're right and infinite pain or suffering if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Right, so it's just Pascal's wager. And if all we're doing is just trying to calculate the odds, we can run that calculation, because that argument is built on a calculation saying that the amount of benefit is infinite if you're correct, and the amount of pain is infinite if I'm wrong. But I can run the same argument, right? I can say that if instead of just wagering to believe in God right now, if I instead say, well, I'm actually going to wait until I win the lottery 3 weekends in a row because, you know, I just want some kind of sign from God before I wager. So if I wait until I win the lottery 3 weekends in a row, well, what we can say is the odds of that happening are not 0. So it's some positive number that's greater than 0, maybe like 0.000000001% that could happen. Okay, so we say that there's some positive percentage, and then we multiply that by the expected reward if it's true that God exists, which would be infinite. And so then we would see that the resulting number would be infinite benefit on the system where I wait to wager in favor of God until I've won the lottery 3 weekends in a row. So it turns out that I can actually just wait for God to do something in my life before I believe and still have the exact same calculation that you have. So I actually have no reason to start, you know, believing in God now based on your argument. I can just, you know, pick some arbitrary thing to wait and see if that happens. And as long as the thing that I'm waiting to see if it happens has a non-zero probability of happening, then the expected outcome is exactly the same.
So you're pretty much what you're saying is it doesn't matter when you start believing, you're still going to get the same outcome as somebody that's been believing their whole life.
Well, your whole argument is based on the expected benefit.
Well, I have another argument too. That's not
okay. So you want to move on from Pascal's wager?
I just wanted to talk about that first. See what you had to say about that.
Okay.
But so, just about how the universe created. So you think that
I mean, I don't even know your take. Why do you like what? How do you think the universe was created?
I have no reason to think that the universe was created.
So you think it's just existed forever?
I don't know about that. Depends on what you mean.
So, like, when did anything come to be? Why do we exist? Why does anything exist?
Those are very vague questions that I don't know what you're asking. The reason I exist is because presumably my parents had sex. I would assume there's probably a similar explanation for why you exist.
I mean, what do you mean it's too vague? So
I don't know. When you say why... No,
There
that's
has to
your
be a
claim. Why
creator.
should I think that the universe needs a creator?
Okay, so, like, I don't really understand, like, your viewpoint. So you're just
What
saying
is
you
the
don't believe
reason
in
to
shit
believe that the universe needs a creator?
because everything's here and everything's so complex.
Why should we think that that means that the universe needs a creator?
Because it's super complex. It doesn't just fucking...
Okay, but I
Come
don't
up
have
with-
any reason to think that something being complex means it must have a creator. So I'm asking, what's the argument that something being complex means it has to have a creator?
So, you're confusing me. So, like,
As
what
far
is-
as I
okay,
can tell-
I understand what you're trying to say. I
Okay.
understand what you're trying to say. But, like, I'm asking you. I just
Okay,
wanna
well, that's
know
where you're fucking
your
up, Odyssey. Don't ask me questions. Give the argument for your position. Your claim is that there has to be a God because the universe must have been created. What's the argument that would allow me to conclude that the universe was created?
I mean, there's a creator to everything. Like, that's just how it fucking works.
Yeah, that's your claim. Why should I believe that's true? Also, I don't think you want to say
Because-
that everything has a creator. Is it your position that everything that exists has a creator?
I mean, it created at one point, did it not?
I'm
Earth
asking
was created,
you a
everything
yes
was
or no question. Is it your position that everything that exists has a creator?
No.
Okay. So then what's the reason to think that the universe has a creator?
Because, like, all the, like, for example, how Earth was made, and like,
yeah, that's just
the low
assuming that Earth was
probability-
made. That's just assuming
let
that
me-
Earth
let me
was
finish
made.
what I was saying.
No,
Let me
because
just
you're begging the question. I'm not going to allow you to give a circular argument and not get pushback. So what I'm asking for is why we should think the universe was created, and saying that the Earth was created is not a reason to think that the universe was created, because then you just need to give us a reason why we should think the Earth was created.
So if you don't think the Earth was created, what do you think happened?
There
You
is
just
no
don't know?
reason. There is no reason for you to ask me questions. You're supposed to be supporting your position. What is the reason to think that the Earth or the universe were created?
Because it exists.
And what does their existence have to do with justifying that there was a creator?
Okay, so like everything does have a creator.
Okay, so your position is that everything that exists has a creator.
Yeah, of some
Okay.
sort.
Okay. And do you agree that God is ultimate? Like, God's has independent existence. He doesn't rely on anything else, but everything else that exists relies on him?
I believe that God is everything.
Right. So everything that exists other than God relies on God for its existence, and God doesn't rely on anything for his existence, right?
God is everything. He's not like you're like separating.
No, that doesn't
everything
answer my
else from
question.
God.
Does God rely on anything for his existence?
You're saying his. It's not a person.
I don't
It's
care.
literally
Its
the-
existence. Does God rely on anything for its existence?
It just exists. It's everything.
Does it rely on anything for its existence?
Rely meaning like. Give me an example of what you mean by rely.
Like a wood table relies on the wood that it's made out of for it to exist.
No.
Okay, so God doesn't have, there's nothing that brought God into existence or keeps him existing, right?
No.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so your argument is that everything that exists has a creator. If God exists, he does not have a creator. So then we would say if God exists, he does and does not have a creator. Therefore, God doesn't exist. So based on your argument that everything that exists has a creator, we can confidently conclude with 100% certainty God does not exist.
But you're labeling God as in like, when I said everything has a creator, I mean everything like in the actual universe.
Right. So you're just
Not
gonna.
into the
So you're just
spiritual
special.
realm.
So you're just special pleading. You're saying everything that exists has a creator except for the things that I don't want to have to say have a creator.
No, because
Okay, so then
it's
how do
not-
we
God
tell?
is not
How do
a
we tell?
physical thing.
So how
God
do we
is not a
tell?
physical thing.
So how do we
Like, what
tell?
I'm trying to say-
So how
No,
do
let
we
me
tell?
finish. Let me
So how do
finish.
we tell which things do have a creator and which things don't?
Everything that you're talking about that has a creator is stuff that we have in our
So how do
universe,
we
our
determine
world.
which things need a creator and which things don't?
We don't have to tell.
So
That's
how
what
do we
faith is.
know? How do we
Let me
know?
explain.
How
If
do
you're
we
gonna try
know?
to break it
How do
down
we
to the
know?
deep-
How do we
to the
know?
smallest
How do we
scientific
know?
things,
How
you're
do we
obviously not
know?
gonna understand
Odyssey.
We
How can
cannot
we?
explain it.
So we can't tell which things need a creator and which things don't.
There's things that you can't explain
So
why
is it your
happens.
position that we can't tell which things need a creator and which things don't?
Dude, you're like,
Is there a way for us to determine which things need a creator and which things don't?
do you understand what faith is?
So this is a yes or no question. The answer should be a yes, a no, or an I don't know. So do you know of a way that we can tell which things need a creator and which things don't?
Yes.
Okay, what is the way that you know of that allows us to tell which things need a creator and which things don't?
I mean, it's spiritual and then things in the actual universe.
So what's the method that we can use that allows us to determine which things need a creator and which things don't?
Again, okay, listen. This is let me give you
Okay,
an
so
answer
I'm
to
going
that
to ask
question.
you I'm going to ask you this question one more time, and if your response is anything other than a direct response, I'm just going to take it as a concession that you know that you can't respond and you're too embarrassed to admit it. But if you're not embarrassed and you actually have a response, then you'll just give the response. So what is the method that we can use to determine which things need a creator and which things don't?
The Bible.
Why would we
So
trust
now
what the
can I
Bible says?
Can I explain now?
Why would we trust what the Bible says?
Because so many people wrote it in different places and it all adds up together.
Really? So since a lot of different people wrote it and they were in a lot of different
They all
places,
have the
that
same
means
stories?
that what it's okay. So that means that Spider-Man stories are true because it was written by a lot of different people who are in a lot of different places and the stories all line up?
No, that's not true.
Oh, so what you're saying is that in fact, just having a large number of authors in different places with a story that
If
lines
you have
up
a
isn't
large
enough to
number of
determine that the story's true?
If you have enough, you have so
So
many
can you just
authors
respond
that
to what I
never
said?
met each other
Can you just
on the
respond to what I
different-
said,
different
Odyssey?
parts of the world.
Okay, so
You can't just keep cutting off. and
so
then
we're gonna
try
go
to-
ahead here and we're gonna say if a thing has
haven't let me
a
say my
lot
main thing,
of
bro. Just let me say it, bro.
authors who were in it, we'll say if a story or maybe narrative, if a narrative has a lot of authors who were in different places, but the narrative still lines up, then that narrative is true. Spider-Man has a narrative that has a lot of authors who were in different places, but the narrative still lines up. So conclusion, Spider-Man's
But you're acting like
narrative
Spider-Man like they didn't have
is
any communication. Like they
so
just
so now, based on your argument, Spider-Man's narrative is true.
literally
So
people all
do you
No,
reject?
bro, you
do you
can't just say
accept
that,
that?
bro.
Do you accept that
No, I
Spider-Man's
do not
narrative is
accept that,
true?
bro.
Okay,
The
then which
Spider-Man-
premise do
the
you
Spider-Man
reject?
analogy you
So
said is
which
fucking
which
bullshit,
so
bro.
which premise do you
Let me explain
reject? One or
something.
two?
No, why don't you, bro? If
Okay,
you're not
so
let me
I'm
talk,
gonna
bro, Jesus,
ask
bro.
you this question again. If you can't stay on substance, I'm just gonna take it as a concession. Which premise do you reject? One or two?
Two.
You reject that Spider-Man has a narrative that has a lot of authors who are in different places, but the narrative still
Dude,
lines
but
up.
you didn't. That's not what I said, though. You took it.
Okay, so
you
you but
changed
this
it and you typed it
do
differently. So
do
let
you
me say
reject
what I mean.
this?
Will you let me
Do
say what I
you
mean, or you just
do
gonna write
you
whatever you want on your little notepad, bro?
do you reject this? Yes or no?
Dude, you wrote a version of it.
Okay,
that
so
is-
I'm going to
has
ask one
nothing to
more
do-
time. Do you reject premise 2?
Yes, I reject it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to
You
just take
didn't
that as a
write it with
reductio.
any context.
I'm just taking that as a reductio. Everyone knows that Spider-Man's narrative has a lot of authors who were in different places, but the narrative still lines up. There's literally dozens and dozens of people who've written the comic books. Hey, thanks, Molly Ringworm and KC. Thank you for the Djembe Master, KC. You fucking rule. And I realized, KC, that you sent one earlier, and right when I was resetting the live, and I didn't get to say thank you then, so I apologize. I want you to know I appreciate that. I noticed it, and I don't want to pretend that like that's nothing. It means a lot to me, and I appreciate you immensely. Also, same to you, Poopman Jones. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you, Molly Ringworm, as well, and Tiny Science and Lupine. And Dabnese, you guys rule. Thank you so much. So here's what's going to happen in my debates for the people who are crying. I am not going to let people run away from the substance. Okay? If someone comes up here to debate, but their debate tactics, yeah, Dragoon looked it up and found 50 different authors of Spider-Man. But anyway, if anyone wants to come up here, but their debate tactic relies on them running away from the substance and running away from the implications of their own arguments, then it's just not, I'm not going to continue that conversation. Either they're going to let me bring them back to the substance, or I'm going to end the conversation. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Yeah, no, Brian, I'm sure you're right that there are hundreds of people who've worked on the Spider-Man stories. Oh, thanks, Bertram, for the confetti and the heart me. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay. No, Zane. In fact, the Spider-Man stories have been told over decades by people spread out all over the globe. No, I've never used crystals. Thanks, Discord. I assume that's a glitch, but still cool. Okay, we'll bring up the next person. Hi, A. How old are you?
I'm 24.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief?
How do you think we got here?
So what's the best argument or evidence?
No, I'm asking you, like, how did we all get here?
Well, I'm going to assume that our parents had sex, but this, whether or not I can answer a specific question has nothing to do with whether or not your position is justified. So let's just focus on that. What's the justification for your position?
Bro, everything has a beginning. There has to be a creator.
Oh, you're saying everything that exists has a beginning?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then that means that God has a beginning. But if God has a beginning, then that means that he's in time. But if he's in time, he didn't create the universe. However, if he does exist, he did create the universe. Therefore, your God doesn't exist.
God is outside of time.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. That's the contradiction that you just created. You're
How's
saying that, yeah, because to say that God began means that he went from not existing to existing, which means that he's in a changing state of existence, which means that he's in time. Yes, you said, yes, you did. No. You said everything that exists had a beginning. If God exists, then that means that God had a beginning.
God's always been here.
Okay, then that's what I'm saying. You have contradicted yourself. I'll put it up on the screen.
Okay, you didn't answer my question.
Okay, so everything that exists had a beginning. God exists. Conclusion, God had a beginning, right?
God's always been there. I didn't say he had a beginning.
You said everything that exists had a beginning.
Yes, but I didn't say God. God's always been here.
Okay, so does God exist?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so then that follows under one of the things that exists, right?
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Or maybe we'll say, if God exists, he did not have a beginning, therefore God doesn't exist. And we'll
How does that make sense? How does that make sense?
Doesn't exist.
How does that make sense, though?
Because you're saying everything that does exist had a beginning, but if God exists, he didn't have a beginning. Therefore, based on your principle that everything that exists had a beginning, God can't possibly exist because he would break that rule. So in order to get out of this, you would just need to reject this stupid thing that you said.
No, that is not stupid.
Yes, it is. This is what's leading us to the conclusion God can't possibly exist.
Yes, he does.
Okay. Is that all you've got? Is just you just want to run in circles?
You're not letting me talk. You always
Okay.
overtalk people.
Yeah, fantastic. So then just I engage with this argument then. How do you get out of this problem?
What do you mean how to get out of this problem? God's always been here. He created everything.
Right. So you're
It's
saying
like-
if God exists, he didn't have a beginning, right?
I never said, oh my God. I said he's always been here.
Right. You're saying that if God exists, he did not have a beginning, right?
That's not what I said.
Okay. Do you think that if God exists, he did have a beginning?
He's always been here.
Okay. So, if God exists, he either had a beginning or he did not have a beginning.
So you think we just
So
here
which is it?
randomly?
So
Let me ask you a question.
did
Let me
God
ask you a
have a
question.
beginning? Yes or no?
So you think we just here
So
randomly?
if God exists, does he have a beginning? Yes or no?
So you think we just here randomly?
Okay, so I'm going to ask one more time. If you can't engage, I'll just move on. If God exists, did he have a beginning or not?
Did you say?
Okay. Fair enough. All right. I did, Astronova. I made you a mod a while ago. I'm surprised you're just noticing. I'd be sneaky like that. Sometimes. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Oh, I forgot what I was doing. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Do have someone requesting, so one sec, I'll bring up the next person here. Oh yeah, that's good. I just wanted to check. Oh my God, I need a new computer. Hopefully get that figured out soon here. Anyway, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. I don't know if I can use your brain, Tommy. Somebody earlier was trying to grab my brain, and I didn't really want that. Oh, that's probably true, Tung Tung. Hi, Bonds. How old are you?
21. How are you doing?
Doing just fine. How's your day going?
Doing good.
Did you say you're 21?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what God do you believe in?
I believe in the Almighty God, the only one true God, the God of creation.
Okay, so you believe in Eunice, the universe farting unicorn? She's the one true God that made all creation. So is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, you believe in Eunice, the universe farting unicorn?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Well, it doesn't sound like we have anything to debate then. Have a good one. I don't know. That's probably fine. Mainly my issue is like, for mods would just be like, spamming and hate speech are the biggest things that I have problems with. Okay. All right. So currently don't have anybody requesting. Well, that last person is requesting again, but already said that he believes in Eunice, so there's nothing to debate. That's hilarious. Okay, so if you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief, feel free to request. I'd be happy to have the debate with you. Thank you so much for the support, Tree. Pop and Lem, I appreciate you as well. Discordant Rhyme, Roger, 27 Bin, appreciate it. And Bertram again, thank you very much. Yay, thanks, Tree. Yeah, Dragoon, I would appreciate if we could get more subscribers over on the YouTube, but you know, What do you do? I suppose I could put that up and remind people that it exists. If anybody's interested in following on YouTube, it's just youtube.com/@OgarDebates. You can also join the Discord. Yeah, no spamming, no excessive caps, no hate speech, no bullying, no children. Don't like begging to be brought up, and not really, looking to have people self-promote. Well, I appreciate you too, Pop. As far as I can tell, the universe is real, yeah. But yeah, currently nobody requesting other than that Bonds and Seals, but like I said, since he holds to Eunice as the true God, then there's nothing to debate. Well, I appreciate it, Chapter. Well, I appreciate that, Brian. I'm trolling. Sounds like you're trolling. You came up here talking about how you believe in a universe-farting unicorn. Well, I appreciate it, Jay. No, I don't have any children, thankfully. Eunice doesn't fart unicorns. She is a universe-farting unicorn. She is a unicorn who farted out the universe. Okay. Oof, that's rough. Static. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we're getting anybody requesting. Yeah, well, I agree with. I'm with you on the first part of that. Actually, if I'm totally honest, I'm not really a big fan of like hanging out with kids. Like, I don't get kids. Like, I don't understand children. I didn't like them when I was a kid, and I have nothing has really changed. Yeah, I don't know. Oh shit, no way. Like, no hate to people who have kids. Like, obviously there's nothing wrong with having kids. I just personally don't enjoy kids, being around kids. Like, my nephew's totally cool, right? Yeah, kids are kind of annoying, but I also just like don't understand them. Maybe that's part of it, because like I never really understand. I didn't understand other kids when I was a kid, and I still don't I understand them even less now as an adult. Infectious Bites, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. That is so insanely generous of you. Thank you so much, sincerely. I massively appreciate that. Support like that makes such a big difference to me. I'm starting college. I'm 40 years old and finally starting college. Not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. And like, getting the support from you guys makes an enormous amount of differences, and it's definitely going to help with that. So thank you massively for that support, Infexus. Sincerely appreciate it. Yeah, co-ed Ogar. I'm going to study philosophy. I'm going to be going to a community college to get an associate's in philosophy, and then hopefully transitioning from that to a 4-year college to get a bachelor's. The main thing, Life's a Glitch, that I want to do with the degree is the learning, right? Like, I just want to go through the process of learning enough to qualify for the degree. And then from there, I don't know. Like, I mean, it would be awesome if one day in the future I could like publish in philosophy. That would be awesome, but not something that I expect to ever actually happen. Oh, wow, Infexus, thank you so much for the additional $30 on Venmo. Thank you so much. I will get that degree. Well, actually, did you? Oh, you said thank you for all you do on the other one. Thank you, Infexus, for the support, and for everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you massively for the support. It means so much to me. Genuinely, thank you. My mom used to believe in a God. I don't think she does anymore, and my dad very much believes in a God. But I think that yeah, we aren't getting anybody up. Nobody's requesting. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and say that's probably good for the evening. Thank you, Wit and Tree and Tupop and Lem for the support. Thank you again, Infexus, for the support on Venmo. That means so much to me, and I appreciate it massively. As I always say at the end of my lives, remember, oh shit, thank you, Life's a Glitch, and Rust Bucket and Lupine for the kind of last minute support there. Thank you so much. Remember that tomorrow is not guaranteed, so you don't know how many opportunities you have to let your family and friends know how important they are to you. I'm very happy I got to see some family today, and I hope that I get to again soon, and I hope you do as well.